It is an ancient fortress built by the Incas, sitting high above the city of Cusco. It's over 500 years old and is one of the most important historical sites in the country.
Peru, 1923. A group of teenagers decides to explore the tunnels beneath Sacsayhuamán. Local legends say the passages run for miles under Cusco, connecting the fortress to temples in the city center. One boy goes in first. His friends wait outside. An hour passes, then 2, then 5. He doesn't come back. Search parties go in. They find a partially collapsed interior wall, scorch marks inside a sealed cavity, tools scattered on the ground. No body. The Peruvian government seals the entrance with bricks and concrete, posts guards, declares the tunnels off limits permanently. Official explanation: the tunnels are unstable and dangerous. But here's what they don't tell you. That wasn't the first disappearance, and it wouldn't be the last. Spanish chronicles from the 1500s mention these same tunnels. Garcilaso de la Vega and Pedro Chiesa de Leon both wrote about underground passages running from Sacsayhuamán all the way to Coricancha, the Temple of the Sun, over 2 kilometers away through solid rock. They described them as escape routes, smuggling paths for sacred gold when the conquistadors arrived. For centuries, historians dismissed it as legend. Then in 2010, researchers brought ground-penetrating radar to the site. The tunnels are real. Chambers, corridors carved through bedrock, voids dropping several meters in sharply linear patterns that don't occur in nature. Deliberately built, deliberately hidden, and still sealed by the government today. But the mystery doesn't stop underground. Because the more engineers study what's visible on the surface, the more they realize something's wrong with the official story. Those massive walls everyone photographs, the precise stonework the Inca supposedly built, they might just be the top layer. Walk to the edge of Sacsayhuamán, where erosion has exposed the hillside. Look at the foundations beneath the famous zigzag walls. You'll see something wrong. The stones get bigger as you go down, not smaller. The lowest blocks are more massive than anything on the surface. They're rougher in appearance, but more precisely fitted into the bedrock itself. Dr. Kurt Hall, a geologist who studied the site in the 1990s, noticed this immediately. These aren't stacked blocks. They're carved from the mountain. Someone shaped the hill itself, cutting directly into living rock, then built upward from there. The tool marks on these buried stones are different too. Broader cuts, deeper grooves. They don't match the rhythmic hammering patterns you see on Inca stonework at other sites. And here's the part that breaks the standard timeline. The Inca always refined their masonry over time. Early construction is cruder. Later work becomes more precise. At Sacsayhuamán, it's backwards. The oldest, deepest stones are the most massive and the most expertly integrated into bedrock. The upper layers, supposedly built later by the Inca, are smaller, lighter, less ambitious. It's called a two-phase construction site. Phase 1. Unknown builders carved the foundation directly from the mountain, possibly creating underground chambers and passages. Phase 2. The Inca inherited this base structure and built on top of it. This same pattern appears at Ollantay Tambo, at Pumapunku, Inca architecture sitting directly atop older, more massive megaliths that archaeologists struggle to date because there's no organic material for carbon testing. The lower layers are time-locked. When ground-penetrating radar scanned beneath Sacsayhuamán's central tower foundation, called Muyukmarca, it revealed hollowed corridors and chambers dropping through bedrock in geometric patterns. Not natural caves, carved tunnels. Local legends call them the Chincana Grande, the Great Labyrinth. Spanish conquistadors wrote about them in the 1500s. They described a massive underground network connecting Sacsayhuamán to Coricancha in central Cusco, over 2 kilometers away. The Spanish said Inca priests used these tunnels to smuggle golden statues and sacred artifacts out of the city when the invasion began. Then the radar proved it. The tunnels exist. Multiple entrances were documented in the early 1900s before the government sealed them, and people kept disappearing inside. The 1923 case is the most famous, but Cusco archives mention others, explorers entering the tunnels and never returning. Search parties finding collapsed sections, strange scorch marks. but no bodies. After the 1923 incident, the main entrances were permanently bricked up, but even sealed, strange things keep happening. In 2010, researchers trying to complete radar mapping of the underground network hit constant problems: equipment malfunctions, signal dropouts, electromagnetic interference so severe they couldn't get consistent readings near certain areas. Then there are the magnetic anomalies. 2008. A team from Kyoto University brought magnetometers to test reports that compasses don't work properly at Sacsayhuamán. They recorded sudden fluctuations in the local magnetic field near specific stones. Not all stones, just certain ones, usually embedded at deeper structural levels or positioned at particular angles in the zigzag walls. The disturbances weren't constant either. They'd spike, disappear for days or weeks, then return without warning. During one experiment, they flew a drone with a magnetometer over a platform near Kocha. The drone lost navigational control when it passed directly above a specific polygonal joint between stones. The onboard sensors recorded a geomagnetic spike lasting just under 6 seconds. No explanation, no metal nearby, no underground cables, just stone. Mainstream archaeology attributes it to natural magnetic anomalies, iron-rich andesite interacting with Earth's magnetic field. But that doesn't explain why only specific stones trigger it, or why the effect comes and goes. Then there's the sound. Stand between the zigzag walls and clap your hands. The echo doesn't behave normally. It bounces in strange patterns, amplifying, distorting, as if the walls were tuned for it. 2005. Researchers from the University of San Marcos conducted acoustic resonance testing. They found frequencies between 200 and 500 hertz reverberated significantly stronger between the walls than in open terrain nearby. The entire structure behaves like an amplifier. Locals have noticed this for generations. They call it the breathing stones. At dawn or dusk, people claim to hear soft rhythmic pulses from the base of certain blocks, like deep, slow breathing. 2018, a National Geographic team recorded low-frequency vibrations near the Kocha area that fluctuated in wave-like rhythms, officially dismissed as wind interacting with porous stone. But one researcher privately suggested the vibrations might come from subterranean cavities below the hill. Scattered around Sacsayhuamán, especially in rocky hillsides beyond the main walls, are stone cutouts carved directly into bedrock. Not buildings, not walls. Just natural rock outcrops with sections carved into perfect geometric shapes. Sometimes on steep cliffs, sometimes in completely inaccessible areas. Staircases leading nowhere. Deep rectangular slots carved at 90-degree angles. Perfectly flat platforms with no visible purpose. 2013. A drone survey discovered one formation researchers nicknamed the Inverted Temple. A natural rock about 20 meters across with 3 deep cavities cut at exact right angles, forming an interior corner that looks machine-made. The edges were sharper and smoother than what Bronze Age tools should be able to produce. One investigator said the surface looked like modern lathe work. Some stones have bosses, small rectangular protrusions left deliberately on otherwise smooth surfaces. They match features at ancient Egyptian and Turkish sites, Saqqara, Hattusa. Nobody knows what they're for. Lifting mechanisms, measurement markers, some kind of construction code. Then there are the channels. Perfectly straight grooves, just centimeters wide, running several meters across stone platforms. Some lead toward underground fissures. Others vanish at cliff edges. What makes these features disturbing is how isolated they are, detached from the main fortress, often in remote, hard-to-reach locations. Yet their precision matches or exceeds the central structures. Some researchers think they weren't part of the fortress at all. They were experiments, tests, or fragments of a construction technology that's been lost. But there's one more piece that ties everything together. 2016, archaeoastronomer Giulio Magli from the Polytechnic University of Milan studied Sacsayhuamán's layout from above using LiDAR imaging. He found that sections of the fortress align almost perfectly with solar events, solstices, and equinoxes. Stand at specific observation points during the June or December solstice, and the sun rises or sets directly behind stone outcrops that seem randomly placed, until those exact dates arrive. According to Quechua oral traditions, Sacsayhuamán wasn't just a fortress. It was an operational calendar. The zigzag walls may track the movement of the sun's shadow across the valley. When shadows fall at certain angles on specific days, they point directly to distant peaks or caves, some containing water channels, carved thrones, ceremonial platforms. Agricultural forecasting, planting and harvesting cycles calculated down to the week. But here's what makes this genuinely unsettling. Several of these surface alignments point directly to bricked-up tunnel entrances and underground voids detected by radar. The visible fortress and the buried network were designed together. Surface stones marking celestial events. Subterranean passages tracking something else, seasonal water flow, temperature shifts, seismic activity. Ancient Andean mythology speaks of the Pachacuti, a cosmic cycle that resets the world every few thousand years, tied to celestial changes. Could the buried sections of Sacsayhuamán be a timekeeping vault, a message encoded in stone and space for whoever comes after the next reset? Just outside the main complex sits a massive block tilted against a slope, nearly 9 meters long, over 200 tons. They call it the Tired Stone. Legend says thousands of Inca workers were transporting it from a distant quarry when it slipped, rolled, and crushed an entire group beneath it. After the disaster, the stone was declared cursed. The site became forbidden, but behind the Tired Stone lies what appears to be an ancient cutout in the earth, partially buried by landslides and vegetation. Early 20th century explorers claimed this was once a formal entrance, large enough to walk through, leading to a vast tunnel beneath the Chincana rock formation. 1989, a team of German and Peruvian researchers attempted to excavate the area. According to unpublished notes from the Cusco Historical Society, they found a man-made cavity nearly 4 meters deep, tool marks on the walls, what looked like the beginning of a stairway descending further. Days into the excavation, the project was shut down. Official reason: hillside instability. Unofficial rumors: they uncovered inscriptions, symbols not in Quechua, not in Spanish. Something older: no photographs were released. 1996. An infrared aerial scan showed unnatural thermal signatures beneath the Tired Stone, suggesting a hollow chamber below. Despite this evidence, no modern archaeological project has been approved to investigate further. So here's what we know for certain about Sacsayhuamán. Radar confirms tunnels and chambers beneath the fortress, carved through bedrock in geometric patterns. The government sealed the known entrances after people disappeared inside. The visible fortress sits atop older, more massive foundations, built in a completely different style. Tool marks and construction techniques don't match classic Inca work. Specific stones cause measurable magnetic disturbances that fluctuate without pattern. Compasses fail, equipment malfunctions, drones lose control. The structure produces acoustic anomalies, amplifying certain frequencies as if deliberately tuned. Low-frequency vibrations pulse from the stones in rhythmic patterns researchers can record, but can't explain. Surface features align with celestial events and point directly to underground voids. The visible and invisible were designed as one system. Scattered across the site are precision stone cuts that appear machine-made, found in inaccessible locations serving no obvious purpose. Put it all together and you're left with something that doesn't fit the timeline we've been taught. Either the Inca inherited a far older structure and built on top of it, preserving and repurposing something they didn't fully understand, or they possessed construction knowledge and engineering capabilities we've completely underestimated, or both. The truth is, we don't know, because the Peruvian government won't allow full exploration of what lies beneath. The tunnels remain sealed, the chambers unmapped, the deepest foundations unexposed, and every request to excavate further gets denied. We have the technology: ground-penetrating radar, lidar imaging, non-invasive scanning that could map the entire underground network without disturbing a single stone. But it's not being used. After over a century of study, the most important questions about Sacsayhuamán remain unanswered. Not because we can't answer them, because we're not allowed to. So what's down there? Escape tunnels for Inca royalty? Hidden vaults filled with artifacts smuggled out when the Spanish invaded? Or something older? a construction left by whoever carved those massive foundation stones directly into the mountain. Maybe it's a cosmic calendar, a record of celestial cycles encoded in stone and space designed to survive the Pachacuti, the world-ending reset ancient Andeans believed would come. Maybe it's a warning we're not ready to read. Or maybe it's just tunnels, dark, dangerous, unstable passages that collapsed and killed people, exactly like the government says. But if that's all it is, why seal it so completely? Why deny every modern research proposal? Why leave one of the most mysterious archaeological sites on Earth half explored? The magnetic anomalies are real. The acoustic phenomena are documented. The radar scans show voids and chambers. Something is beneath Sacsayhuamán that we haven't seen. And until those seals come off and researchers are allowed underground, we're only guessing at what the Inca, or whoever came before them, left behind. What do you think is buried beneath Sacsayhuamán? A lost library of knowledge, proof of a pre-Inca civilization, or just dangerous tunnels the government is right to keep sealed? Drop your theory below and subscribe, because the more ancient sites we investigate, the more we realize the civilizations we thought we understood were hiding their most important secrets underground. And the authorities controlling these sites aren't in any hurry to let us find out why.